Go.
Welcome to
Here we go. Go ahead, Jimmy. I'll let you start. I don't want to start in this one because you guys, everyone.
John's coming in hot. I was gonna say I don't know how John's gonna start off this show because it was a wild game, and I don't think any of us thought that the final score was going to resemble anything close to what it does. That fourth quarter, part of the third quarter, and then that fourth quarter, it looked like the teams just did a flip, and the Nuggets wanted absolutely. The Jazz wanted absolutely.
Yeah, I know you got it.
You go back, Jimmy.
The Nuggets wanted absolutely. I always mix those two teams.
You do what you think is right, buddy.
Doesn't matter. Wanted absolutely nothing to do with this game. It felt like in the end, especially Jokic. I mean, Malone literally punished him. He took him out of the game. I think Jokic quit on a play. Malone said, "You're done for the night, for the day." Sat his ass down and just took the L. I mean, it almost felt like that's what he was like.
He benched him, 1 rebound short of a triple-double.
Wild. And you know what? Good on Malone for doing that because it did feel like Jokic kind of checked out there, and Malone was doing none of it. He was frustrated to hell, and he said, screw it. We're going to win or lose with the guys that we have on the court right now. And sure enough, they took a massive L. They lost for sure. I mean, you need Jokic. He's almost too talented to take out. But credit.
It was over at that point, though.
All credit to the Celtics for coming out the way they did in that fourth quarter. Tatum, Brown, you got a good second half of those players, and our boy Grant Williams stepping up big.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Bobby Josue. I was waiting for Bobby Manning's when Grant got in the face of whoever that was who fouled Romeo.
It was Green, JaMychal Green.
Turning point. Oh my God,
Your guy Romeo. I thought your guy Romeo kind of put a little pep in their step.
I thought Romeo was good tonight too.
And see, this is the thing about this game.
I liked Romeo tonight.
When we're talking about guys who played well, we're not talking just about Tatum. We're not talking just about Jaylen Brown. We're talking about some of the guys on the side who, for the most part, have not made an impact in this game. Grant Williams, only had 2 points, but was a plus 23. And for once, that was not a misleading stat. When you look at how he was able to defend Jokic, how he was able to make hustle plays, like the one that we're just talking about that wound up with Romeo getting fouled and making a couple free throws. You start going down this roster beyond your big two of Tatum and Brown, and you see player after player after player making a contribution. And for me, the one thing that it all says is that this team finally decided to fight. They finally decided to fight to win games instead of just letting things play out the way they were. They fought to be a winner, not just assuming it's going to happen.
So that's the question. Was this a Celtics fought game or Denver quit game or both? I think it was kind of both.
I think it was both. Yeah. I think it was definitely both, but I think it was more about the Celtics fighting than it was Denver quitting because, to be honest, I thought the way the Celtics fought was a factor in Denver quitting. This has been one of the concerns that a lot of people, when they think about the Denver Nuggets making a deep playoff run, have. Does this team have the mental toughness to hold its ground when things get rough, when things become a little gritty and grimy? And the play we were talking about this earlier, and we were joking about Grant Williams and that turning point. But I swear, when he got in JaMychal Green's face, that is when I knew there's no way they're going to lose this game, because that's something that they need players to actually stick up for one another. Like I was saying earlier, they need to fight for this stuff, man. They can't just assume that because they've been to the conference finals 3 of the last 4 years, that shit is just going to automatically happen. You got to fight for that. And this was one of the few times where, regardless of what was happening in the game, they were determined to fight to the bitter end. And it was good to see.
It was good, and it reminded me of the Minnesota game a little bit when they went down big to Minnesota, and then they clawed. Marcus Smart kept him in there as best he could, and then the second half they woke up and they again were determined not to go down that way. So again, Sherrod, I think you nailed it. They're fighting for each other for almost for the first time this season. It feels like. I mean, really, we've been waiting for examples of these guys having each other's backs, whether it's on the court or off the court. Speaking to the media, whatever it may be, you're looking for that support, whether it's player to player, player to coach. We didn't get a lot.
I know. First, Jaylen gave the bucket to Jayson last game, and how much ink was spilled over that. Oh, my God.
Hey, again, the stuff we've talked about over the last week.
Oh, my God.
Here it comes.
Oh, he gave it to him. So first,
but John, remember,
hate each other?
that's an assist. That's an assist for Jaylen. So let's not. It's not totally altruistic. He does get an assist.
I do want to say good morning to Bobby Manning. How are you? Yeah. Good morning. Welcome. Yeah.
Hey, so again, the stuff we've talked about over the last week, whether it be the team's collective disdain for the officiating or just their whatever it is against the media that
hating the Garden Report. Yeah. Yep. Right.
I guess that stuff has added up and it made this more cohesive, fighting group. And, Tristan Thompson's return has played some role in that as well. Mm-hmm. They have just come out here and battered teams defensively. I know we looked at that Charlotte win last Sunday and said, yeah, it's Charlotte, 86 points, whatever. Now to hold Denver to 87 was the performance of the season. Just an absolutely incredible win. Probably their best since last season.
I'm sorry. I am a little dubious. Like, I agree on the both factor. It's hard.
The defense was legit in that fourth quarter.
It's hard. The fourth quarter is its own game. Take that fourth quarter and store it. Celtics absolutely dominated both sides. That was exerting pressure, getting Denver to quit, playing better, all around better offense. Absolutely. Everything that led up until then, it felt like it was one hot streak from Denver, a few 3-pointers away from the Celtics slumping their shoulders and just going home. It was the
opposite happened.
It was the opposite happened, which is great. There was a lot of bad. They had 12 assists, I think 13 assists through 3 quarters, a lot of dribble, jacking shots, just not a very cohesive offense. And Denver just wasn't playing well. And it was, Celtics were staying in the game. So it felt like it could go either way. But hats off to the Celtics. They literally just absolutely stepped on their throats in the fourth quarter. So they get all the credit for that. That was incredible. But I didn't know which way this one was going to go after 3. I mean, the Celtics, as Sherrod said it a million times, and you could see the difference in it. The amount of threes that they took, so few of them were inside outside. It was just perimeter, passing and jack up a 3. Those are those lazy, like, I don't want to be out here this afternoon. If they go, great. If they don't, I'm just going to go home and pack it in because it's a matinee and I didn't feel like playing anyway sort of game. So it had that vibe. And then, like I said, as we said, they turned up the heat there late in that third quarter, and they made it really hard. And then Denver just absolutely folded.
And what I liked about this game and what I liked about the win was that in a game where they could not hit a 3-pointer for the life of them, I think they shot like just about 20%. I mean, that's a game that they lose like 99% of the time. But to their credit, they decided to attack the rim, score in the paint. They outscored the Nuggets tonight in the paint, a team that has a guy like Jokic out there. And to me, that's what you want to see, because earlier in the season, they might just stay jacking threes and lose the game. But to their credit, they figured out what wasn't working for them today.
That was the story of the game.
Maybe because they were that day game, matinee sort of sloppy shooting, whatever the reason was. I give them all the credit in the world for, sort of changing the way that they were going to go about their offense today and attacking the Nuggets to the point where they, sucked the life out of them.
Right, but the other thing, too, that we would be remiss in not talking about is the fact that the Nuggets didn't have Jamal Murray, which, again, taking advantage of opportunities that you have nothing to do with. That was one of them. And I thought the Celtics did a good job of forcing others other than Jokic to make plays and get things done. Michael Porter Jr. is having a great year, and so is Aaron Gordon. But you get the sense with those two guys that at some point, they're going to come a little bit closer to earth and play closer to where their talent is as opposed to where they're at now, which is way beyond, I think, either of those guys' talent level. And the Celtics forced Denver to, frankly, rely on others to make plays and make shots that normally Jamal Murray would make. And again, that's not saying that doesn't take away from the win. That's simply acknowledging the fact that the Celtics had a built-in area that they could exploit. And to their credit, they were able to do that. And that's something we haven't seen them always do. We've seen them play not so great teams or good teams that were missing a key player, and they were never able to take advantage of that missing void on the opposing team. This was one of those games where they did just that and got a win that I think we've already I think we're all in agreement. This is arguably their best win of the season, and maybe one of the better ones they've had in the last couple of years.
What did you say after the last game, Sherrod? It's got to be defense, and this is their potential defensively. It really is. I came into this year saying this could be the best defense in the NBA, and it really can be.
Bobby, no.
They have to lock in. They have to give the effort required, and they have to be connected on that end. And you know what? I said after last game that he was going to be moving Thompson to the starting lineup. I actually like him with the second unit now that I've seen it for a few games. I'll surrender on that one. Yeah, because the upside of Rob's ball movement with the starting unit and how good they've been able to get defensive rotations and all that stuff with the bench guys in, that's the right fit for both of them. You know, Thompson's been really good with the bench. I thought Rob was fantastic with the starters tonight, plus 17. Just the right center rotation. They got it hammered down. Mixing Grant a little bit there at the 4 when needed. And I think Brad Stevens has found his rotation. You know, Fournier will be mixed in with that bench group when they get back. It was just a nice fluid rotation that allowed them to dominate Denver's bench.
Before I make Bobby say that one more time, because I want everybody to hear it again, I do want to tell everybody about our sponsor, Locker Room. And again, I know a lot of people are using this app and they're going in there and they're talking to people, but this is a direct sponsor of ours, okay? We are in business with Locker Room, and it is super important to us that you join us after, not just because like I said, it's good for us, but we love having you. It's been fun. We've done it 3 games now. We've been packed up over 100 people each time. We want to get those numbers up. We've heard from a ton of you. You're extremely active in the chats. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your voices. So download it at the iOS store. We know there's an issue with Android, but that's going to be fixed soon, we believe. So download it, iOS, and join us afterwards. We'll be putting a link in the chat. We'll trickle over there. We'll chat with you in a little bit. It is Sunday, so we'll keep this game on the shorter side, and then we'll head over to Locker Room. We'll chat a little bit, and we'll let everybody go on their way and enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoons. Maybe catch the 18th, last couple of holes of the Masters. We'll see. Or do both. Well, whatever it is. But, yeah, Bobby, you were saying something about Tristan Thompson, second unit, and John, you're right. I can't remember.
No, I'm
just kidding.
I think that's the right fit. And now I want to throw this at you guys too. What are we at? April 11th now? The Celtics are the 5th best defense in the NBA since April 1st, since April got started. So some of these trends we're looking at, whether it's Tatum being a 50, 40, 90 guy this month, their defense turning it up, they're starting to extend now, about midway into the month. And we're seeing really encouraging trends with this team. They have the 4th best net rating in basketball this month. They've just been a different team since the calendar flipped. And it's been about getting different guys back. It's been about finding their rotations, obviously inserting Rob into the starting lineup now. I think, what are we talking about now record-wise since that happened? 6-3 or something like that?
Rob?
Yeah, and he missed one of those games.
I think it's
8-2.
Yeah, 8-2. So, they found their rotations. I was tossing around that Thompson thing for a few games, so I'm going to surrender on that one. What they have right now is going to be what works.
Look, things will change a little bit when Fournier comes back too, and that's going to make a huge difference. But I think Tristan rolling. Look, I think that's what I'm not beating a dead horse on it. I think we thought Rob's potential and playmaking ability unlocks potentially the offense a little bit with that first unit. That's what you want to see. But then you need, again, when you didn't have those couple of games, when Tristan was out and Rob was on an island by himself, and we're sitting here trying to talk ourselves into Cornette and Wagner,
no one was talking themselves into Wagner.
I feel like some people were, but
preseason vibes.
I feel like some people, right? It was like Vegas League vibes, preseason vibes. Yeah. I don't know.
They might have something here.
But the value of Tristan, we've been saying about it even early in the year when I was saying he deserves the 3rd most minutes behind Tyson Rob. It was, you still need that guy. You need that banger. You need a guy to come in there and do what he does. And it's perfect. You're right. I love it in there. In that second unit, energy off the bench. It's a perfect bench player, right? In fact, both he and Smart are perfect bench players, but the Celtics are just too imperfect to be able to have, Smart not start for them right now. But you love guys like that who just come in and up that energy, and so Tristan absolutely has been great in that regard there. And again, when Fournier comes back, I think that unlocks things a little bit better. Josue, we haven't heard from you at all, buddy. So
I was gonna say, no, just let me get right in here. I love how that puts a huge smile on John's face, because I give you credit, John. You've been asking for this since, I don't know, about Christmas time, right, guys? Like this team needs two
last Christmas
centers, just two solidified centers, and everyone else plays whatever's left behind, like whatever garbage time minutes is left. Like this team needs to be in the stretch because Robert Williams needs to. That's going to help him progress. And here we are. I mean, what, 2 months or 3 months, whatever it was, since Robert's been getting significant minutes, but it was always not, consistent. Now, without Daniel Tice on this team, it's crystal clear. But we're seeing the results, and I think for those couple of games where people are like, well, what happened to Robert? He's not doing what he was doing before. I think it's easy to overlook things when he's not, throwing down alley-oops every other play. Again, I feel like teams have zeroed in on him and they've rattled him a bit from that aspect of the game. But you look at the box score, double machine, affecting the game, especially down the stretch, especially in those moments when the Celtics really need him. I mean, all of that attitude that we saw when he got that dunk. Well, credit to Jayson Tatum, of course, for getting that steal. But that's the kind of energy that the starting unit is going to always need down the stretch, regardless of what the box score looks. And look at this box score today. Was it 10 and not double, but 10 and 8?
He was 10 and 8, 2 blocks.
26 minutes, couple of blocks. But again, that him with that starting unit, there's a big difference for me, for sure.
Right. His bad games are like good games of old. Like we saw that little dip, and I was worried because, I really did. And we were joking that Embiid broke him, but he really looked like that game shook him for a couple of games.
After that game, right.
Yeah, he did not look right. He didn't even look right for part of the beginning of this game. And he pulled it off right. But a couple of things, the two centers, but it also allows you to use Grant in more useful ways as well, and so obviously he was super useful tonight. We joke about it all the time because the stat sheet looks ridiculous.
You joke about it, John. Come on, that's your thing.
Oh, I'm the only person that points out that Grant Williams regularly scores 0 points in 23 minutes. I'm the only guy.
It's like when the Celtics say we.
Again, though, there's certain things he does.
I'm the one guy. I'm really picking on him. No,
I just had issues with saying he was useless because he does do certain things out there that are very useful.
He was today. Useful.
Use some.
No, I mean, absolutely.
He was a body, right?
He's another matchup guy. I mean, this is what the center position on this team's all about. Matchups. He's not that much shorter against Jokic that he just is devastated when they line up. And when he got in there, he was able to put enough power into that post-up matchup that it frustrated Jokic. And
he was great on Jokic.
Took him out of the game.
He's a role player, and this was one of those games where he played his role about as perfectly as he could play it. Hustle plays, defense. Doesn't have to be a great rebounder, but you have to be a good positional defender, and I thought he did that. If one of your guys gets hit hard, be the enforcer. Be the guy that talks smack to guys. If you get tossed, guess what? It's a little bit different if you get tossed versus Marcus Smart.
Exactly. Those are the trade-offs you'll make. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like when he got into Michael Green's face, I was hoping that there would be a shoving match. I'm for having an enforcer. Hell yeah.
Your fourth line goon going against a first line player, you take that trade-off, right? Yeah.
I was surprised
every day.
And I love it.
And especially on Sunday.
Yeah.
Even JaMychal was like, yo, is this guy serious right now?
Exactly.
Like, I love that. I love that energy.
No, I love that Grant.
We know Grant can talk. His own teammates, I think, or was it him who admitted that he
too much? Yeah. Sometimes they're like, Jesus, dude, you're like a rookie. Like, shut up.
But how funny was it?
But there's value in that, and we saw that today. Not even all that smack.
I think he talks also in that like annoying little brother sort of way, not just like the right.
Yeah, the way you pulled up with Michael Green was funny though. It wasn't that like, yo, you better stop it. It was more that like, hey man, you better cool it out.
Yeah.
And JaMychal's like,
I am going to be so mad.
Right.
Don't want me to get angry.
JaMychal's like, this is your enforcer? This is your guy?
This guy? Isn't this the guy who almost went to Harvard? This guy?
He's like, what happened to the German big guy? What happened to him, man?
Easy, Harvard. Right. No, but it's good. It was you love seeing it. You love it. It doesn't matter the sport, even in a fake tough guy sport like basketball. Absolutely love seeing guys back up other guys.
They got in Denver's head a little bit. They really
I love
did.
that shit. I love that.
They
You
did.
get in guys' faces. I love when a guy goes to pick him up and other people swat their hands away. Like, nope, that's my guy. Get the F away.
Yeah.
I'll take that all the time. You know, I love that attitude, because you know what? It just it irks them. You know, you think about it. It gets under your skin a little bit, even if it, you know, whether you're intimidated or not.
Sure.
It's like, we're not friends right now. You know, you want to get that vibe. It's too,
especially during a matinee.
Yeah, it's a chummy game as it is. The NBA's gotten very chummy. You want to see a little bit of that.
Right.
I've noticed this too now when it comes to this team, and game after game, I'm looking at points in the paint, and that used to be a big thing with this team. They're too perimeter oriented. They never get inside, this and that. Jimmy alluded to in the opener. Every single game now, you look at that stat, they're right there with the other team, or they're head and shoulders above the other team when it comes to points in the paint. Not only because they're getting there now more often since March began, but they have a hard interior defensively. Like, you're running in the Thompson banging bodies with him. You're running in the Rob shot blocking ability. And, you know, you obviously have long wings next to those guys. You've talked about this too, John. They're playing the way on both ends of the floor that they want to.
More
wings
so.
with length, you know, great interior defenders. Again, this team didn't have an identity for much of this year, you know, between double bigs and all this stuff that they've tossed around and guys moving in and out. We're starting to see it now. We really are. Yeah,
again, better. You know, you'd love to see them, by the way, really kind of, you know, string it together now. You got a Laker team that's kind of limping along here. This would be a nice little, you snuck out the Denver win. You take another one there. All of a sudden you're rolling a little bit. And then Fournier is going to come. Yeah, Portland rather coming into. Portland's next, right? Then the Lakers, is that right?
Portland Lakers.
Portland Lakers, sorry. And then you come home and then Fournier is playing, and, you know, you could, again, what's the goal here? Get out of the set, if you know, get out of the 7 seed, for the love of God. You know,
this is the stretch run here. Yeah, this really is.
You got to get into that 6-5 situation. You don't want to be in a play-in situation, but this is really where you want to kind of solidify your position here. So, you know, good on them. Anything else right now? I was going to move the conversation along. Did anyone have anything while we were rolling here?
No, I was just gonna add on, like what you just said. Like, you don't, the Celtics need to get out of this the king of that tournament. You don't want to be the king of the play-in tournament.
Right.
They need to get off of that. So that's how you do that.
Anything can happen there. You're in one game and something goes fluky, your season's over. Right. You do not want to be in that position.
Yeah. One thing we did want to see tonight heading into this game, because I'm sure, like a lot of Celtics fans had, especially with Fournier out with COVID, a lot of Celtics fans had crippling FOMO watching Aaron Gordon and the Nuggets run off. Was it 7 or 8 straight wins? I forget.
8. It was 8.
8, right? 8 straight wins. And, you know, every basketball writer and everybody covering the team or just watching the team is talking about how the Nuggets unlocked Gordon, how he'd been in jail in Orlando, and, now his talents are shining through and blah, blah, blah. And you're seeing the box scores and you're seeing the highlights, and Jimmy's watching YouTube clips of Gordon dunking. And he's all bummed
Tatum
out.
Gave him the business.
And then Tatum friggin' poofed it on him. No, I mean, and then I swear, I was in and out. I've got kids. I was running around. I was watching and this and that. And for a moment, the first few minutes of the game up until like first quarter, I had to check. I was like, is Gordon out tonight? Is today too? I didn't notice he existed. Okay. And that's like the worst thing. Gordon playing the role of Grant Williams today was Aaron Gordon. Like, I didn't even know he was there, you know, like at all, except the most notable thing he did was get dunked on by Tatum. He was invisible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
a non-factor. And so, like, you feel better about this as a Celtics fan, right? Because you're like, this is the guy I didn't mortgage my future for. Like, I can live with that.
Especially the way Smart's playing. I mean, that was the tough breaking point. Like, do you want to give up that core piece for this guy who's largely a question mark, at least when it came to his history there, and you can project what he would grow into for years to come? But Smart was the better option, and that's why they didn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, part of it, I think, you know, when you're without your starting point guard and Jamal Murray, I think that throws everything off, especially for a new guy like Gordon, who is probably still learning a lot about this team with limited practices, and now he's got Campazzo in there, you know, doing his thing, running around. Like, shout out to Campazzo, man. He's like a ball of energy out there.
He's tough, man.
Yeah,
he's tough.
I'm a big fan of him. Yeah,
I think that
Argentina.
Bit of a disconnect for a guy like Gordon, who, you know, as Bobby mentioned, you know, he's kind of limited in what he can do out there offensively. You know, especially, you know, being on the new team. So, Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, he was borderline invisible, like you said, and except for that yam that he got.
But I can't give him the out that not having Jamal was. I can't give Gordon the out that not having Jamal around kind of hurt his game, because remember, the primary facilitator for that team is Jokic, who once again leads like the NBA in touches. So the ball is literally in his hands damn near more than anyone else in the NBA. Forget about just the roster. I just thought Aaron Gordon just didn't. To John's point, he went Casper the Friendly Ghost on us today.
Yeah.
We knew he was out there, but we really didn't see him.
Right.
We really didn't see him, other than, again, his most notable accomplishment in however minutes he played. I think he played like 30, 35 minutes, something like that, was him getting dunked on by Jayson Tatum. He played 31 minutes.
And he saw it coming a mile away. Like,
he did.
I'm coming to dunk on you now, and he did it.
He even fouled him on the play, John. He fouled Tatum on the dunk. They didn't call it.
By the way, MVP of this chat is everybody who's been saying that Josue's in the dojo right now. I freaking love
it. I got that last week too.
Someone just said Thai restaurant, which I can get down with that too.
Yo, Mr. Miyagi, give me an hour to talk to you guys. That's it.
Oh, I love it.
Sunday
that is a great look.
Josue's in the dojo. I love it.
Yeah, this is what it's all about right here.
No, it's great. But so again, as a Celtics fan, you feel a ton better watching this game because, again, a lot of these guys, unless you're Bobby and you're up there watching friggin' League Pass, till 4 a.m, and then waking up at 8, bleary eyed, and then watching what you DVR'd and missed. Most people aren't watching. Most people
deep with that.
No, but most people aren't watching every single game, every single team. You see flashes. You see them when they come to town. Sure. You catch national TV matchups, the TNTs. You're not getting lots of those with Orlando. So how many full games are people seeing of Aaron Gordon, in Boston, are really out of market? Not tons, right? Yeah. You see him, you see some. So when you see a full game, you're like, oh, you get a better sense of like what is everything they do. But when the Celtics played him, he was dog shit too, I don't
want to go that far because
I'm not saying he is. I thought it was. I was on the side of making the trade. All I'm saying is, if you're a Celtics fan,
no, it's not about that either.
You've now seen him a couple times and not been super impressed. That's all I'm saying.
He's a phenomenal fit in Denver. He just is, and that 8-0 stretch was the real deal. He played well for the entire run that they had after the deadline, and then he had a stinker tonight, which allows us to do this thing here. The question was whether if you were swapping out Smart and giving up all that you had to as Boston and then putting him in that spot, taking away your playmaker. I mean, Denver has 3 or 4 great playmakers and he never has to do a single thing in that role. All of a sudden here, he'd be doing a ton of that like he was in Orlando. And then you lose everything that you would with Smart. So it's always that uneven, like what is Denver giving up? What is Boston giving up? And really all Denver gave up was a draft pick that wasn't playing for them. Wing, who was hurt all year and was a contract they want to get rid of anyway, and a pick in like 2025. So they, for now got him essentially for free. And Boston was going to have to give up a real important rotation piece to get him. So that was the unevenness of that situation that, ended up with the result that it did.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a lot of truth there. 2 completely different roles. We were talking whether he came to the Celtics and then compared to him going to the Denver Nuggets. But I just think this was such an important win for the Celtics team because, again, we talk about the West Coast road trip and the fact that they've had this newfound attitude the Celtics have, right, the last 5 days where it's like us against them. And you know what? We're taking the show on the road. We're going to prove to everyone. And we just rattled the MVP candidate, or at least my favorite candidate for MVP in Jokic. And I think that there's a lot of significance in that because, obviously that team, what he does out there, his attitude reflects a lot of what that team is about. And when he's disconnected from the team like that, I mean, you just saw that their entire approach or their attitude or their, coming out of the timeout was just deflated. I mean, that took a lot out of Denver. And you have to give the Celtics credit for that, regardless if you look at the score and say, oh, well, Celtics, they didn't grab their first lead until the 4th quarter or whatever it was. Yeah, but the Celtics hung around and they got to the free throw line and they were aggressive in their offensive approach. Whereas before they weren't, they would be settling for 3-pointers. And before they would have Jaylen Brown or Jayson Tatum save the day. But no, that wasn't the case. It was everyone going in the paint, right? 20 plus points in the paint before the 4th quarter. They finished with 56 points in the paint, just being aggressive, regardless if they were down by double digits or not. and it paid off. You know, obviously the offense picked up in the fourth quarter in that second half, but the defense was protecting the paint as well. I thought they did a really good job with Jokic or whoever it was, whether it was Jermichael Green getting frustrated, trying to get his shots, you know, those high percentage shots that they usually get so easily. The Celtics made it hard for them, and they were really in their own way, it seemed like, at least before they gave up the lead as a whole. Regardless, though, I'm still surprised Coach Malone benched him that early. What was it, 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter? I mean, I get it. He was frustrated. His attitude was out the window, but I was surprised we didn't see him at least a minute later where it was still, a 9-point game they got into at one point. And I'm like, man, they're really going to bench Jokic for the night. But he was in the doghouse.
Yep.
Yeah, but I thought Jokic checked out even before he got benched. He was still putting up Jokic numbers. He was still getting his numbers, but there was and he's a pretty laid back guy to begin with, but he seemed ridiculously laid back. I mean, you would have thought that he had this pressing matter that had, you know, that this basketball game was interfering with him getting to wherever the hell he need to get to. You can't be like that at any point in the season. And I know that to some extent they feel like they're playing with house money because they've won 8 in a row, and the Celtics have not played great basketball this year, but they left the door open for the Celtics to come in and give the Celtics credit. They didn't allow the moment to just pass them by. They grabbed a hold of it, took it for their own, got the win, did all the little things that we haven't talked about, that we've been talking about the last few weeks, like turnovers. I think they had like 9 for the entire game. And we've seen some games where they'd have more than that in like the first half. And the fact that when they did turn the ball over, they weren't letting Denver get out and get easy buckets. Denver, I think, had maybe 4 fast break points or something like that. So, and the bench, even the Celtics bench wound up outscoring Denver's second unit, which again, the game, some of that had to do with the game at the very end getting a little bit out of hand and the Celtics taking control. But the point is, they did so many of the little things that they have been completely crap in the bed up to this point in the season at doing against a quality team on the road. And there's no way you can really just de-emphasize how important it was for them to beat a quality team on the road playing good basketball and not relying on the damn 3-point shot. To me, that was one of the best parts about this win, was that it wasn't a game that they offense carried them. It wasn't a game where they had to shoot the hell out of the ball in order to win. They shot like crap most of the game. Yeah. But they dug down. They made it more of a fight than a flurry of threes, and they got the win. This is again one of the better wins they've had certainly this year, maybe in the last couple of years.
7 3-pointers, Rod.
Yeah.
A month ago, they had to drain at least 18, you know, for them to pull out this win. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the only one looking at Josue's shades, or are you guys looking at it too?
Looking at what?
I can only see like a piece of Josue's head. It must just be on my.
Yeah, no,
it's just you.
Josue's in the dojo. He looks good.
I thought you were fixated on the drapes.
Jimmy, did you pop the edibles before this, man? You tripping, man.
Wait, did you say edibles as in plural, not singular, right?
Yeah, right.
Hey, it's Sunday, you know. That's how I relax.
Yeah, right.
For sure.
After the win, but I think we haven't talked about Jayson Tatum enough this show, and
I said, yeah. Go ahead, you start.
Well, you know, 3 straight games with 10 rebounds for him. I think he's being a lot more active out there. He's being a lot more aggressive on both ends. He's not just chucking shots. I mean, it went to the line 8 times tonight. I don't know if it has anything to do with some of the comments that, you know, were said about him by the national guys or what, but it does feel like he's playing with a little extra something. You know, and if you look at his, you know, just game logs, you know, he's dropping, you know, 23, 24 minimum a game, feels like now, like fairly regularly. Obviously, he had 53 last game, and I know that meant a lot to him. He couldn't wait to post that on Instagram. I think he was probably on the team bus, but I just shout out to Tatum, man. He's playing like the player they need him to be if they want to go anywhere. He's starting to. I mean, it's not a 180, but you know, these are the way you start to trend in the right direction. They've won, you know, 3 straight now. Like you guys said, they can maybe build a little momentum here on the road and see what they've got. So
when he's attacking off the dribble now, he's still drawing contact. But at least even when he misses, he's following through on a play. It's a follow-through miss or it's a finish. He's not just getting knocked off his stride as easily as we've seen in the past. And he needs to keep doing that because the thing that I think happened tonight was because he was being so effective at getting to the rim, it opened things up for his mid-range and three-point game. And so those shots were either in rhythm or open, I thought, more than they normally are. And he did a good job of mixing it up, keeping that Denver defense off balance, taking advantage of whatever defender was on him. If it was somebody like Will Barton, who he knows he can shoot over, he did that. If it was someone that's a little bit bigger, take him off the dribble like Aaron Gordon and finish at the rim. This was a classic case study, and I'm better than everyone on your team. And by the end of the night, I'm going to show you why. And he doesn't always do that.
They finally ran. I mean, if Tommy was alive and he was watching this team all year, you know exactly what he would be saying about this team. Run. They are just so stagnant in the half court sometimes. And then you
can't even blame Brad for that, because if you're watching him on the sideline, you see Brad is like urging him to get out and run.
And the only guy who was doing that early in the year, getting them moving in that sense, was Peyton Pritchard, which is why he made the impact that he did in that portion of the season.
Jaylen
tonight, and Jaylen tonight, even like he was the one who got them going late in that third from a pace perspective. This team needs to sprint a little bit. Like they do not have the half court offensive prowess.
Do you think Tatum was playing with that urgency the first 3 quarters, though? I felt to me that
first half
he was stuck.
Nobody was.
He was stuck in a lot of dribble, ISO, bad shots. I mean, I didn't like it, and then he got aggressive and he started to get downhill.
Yeah, he got to the rim, and that
he was a little. I mean, also don't forget. I mean, it felt like he might not even play today with some sort of sickness, so maybe he was feeling it a little bit.
Yeah, maybe started slow.
Yeah.
High altitude thing too is real there. Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God, is it
real?
real?
A lot about that.
Oh my God.
Oh, have you been out there? I've never been out there.
Oh my God.
Yes, it is real.
I'm like, I can't. No matter, I could drink like 10 gallons of water. I can't stay hydrated. I swear. Every time the altitude kill. And some people get dizzy. I've been out there a few times. I mean, I covered the World Series in 2007 when the Sox were out there.
The Rockies can't handle it. Then the Rockies. These world-class athletes to be able
Plus, I've been out there a few times for recreational reasons. But it's
and to breathe out there when you're
and the Broncos
in the mountains.
I've covered Pat's Broncos out there a bunch too. So I've been out there a few times. Every time I'm out there, I'm like, like, and some people really get it in the head. Like they get lightheaded. It's definitely real.
No, and that makes this.
I mean, look at the Patriots' record in Denver for like their lives. It's always, they friggin'
it's a tough place to win for road teams. It always has been.
Right.
So that makes this one just that much more impressive. Beyond the fact that the team started to look like something that had an identity here. It was really inspiring to watch that second half. And again, you can nitpick the first half, but I don't want to underemphasize what Jimmy said there. If this team starts 2-17 and you ask someone who didn't watch, did they win from 3? Everybody would say no. And they were within 6 at halftime thanks to all the free throws they generated. So the way they stuck in it throughout, never got down by more than 12 or 14, was pretty amazing. Great resolve here for a team that, we can talk about all the talent and depth issues and this and that. The resolve issue was real too. And Brad has said it over and over again. When stuff gets tough, they folded this year, and tonight they didn't.
Yeah. All right. I'll be the guy.
Of course you will.
No, Bobby wants a Kemba apology cam. I want to know why.
Yeah.
That closed to the third quarter.
So that's what it takes?
Yeah. And it's the story of his whole season. What's his final line there? 6 of 15. Bad efficiency. You're going to look at this year in his career and say, wow, that was just a rough year for Kemba. But these moments that he has, these stretches where he gets going, gets downhill, finds a shot, or just has an otherwise big finish to games that have stolen a couple of games for this team, it's still important. I mean, he's doing things that avoid making him dead weight from a production standpoint. So you're going to look at the numbers every single night and say, all right, not a good Kemba game, but he still has these moments, and even his compete level on the defensive end of the floor that still makes him immensely useful.
Yeah, the compete level, nobody's ever argued.
Even the passing.
And he had that terrific stop at the end of the third where he played that great defense, takes it end to end. That was a real Kemba highlight. But again, it's these games, this is a regular box score for Kemba nowadays. You just got to live with it. This looks a lot like a lot of his games recently.
That's why I don't think it's apology cam worthy, Bobby. I don't know, man.
Well, certainly not. I was just controlling Bobby a little bit on that. But again, if I went,
you just want to shoot him down on that one.
If it took me 3 months to go on the just play 2 centers and start Rob crusade, I've been on the Kemba bench crusade for about a month or so now. I still am saying it not as a demotion. I honestly wonder whether or not kicking him to that second unit when Fournier back is a bad idea. I'm just saying it. Okay. I'm just going to keep saying it. I think he's ideally suited. I think he is more of a specialist and a role player at this stage in his career for what he's able to do, to come in and be an instant offense sort of guy that can just shoot with no conscience and impunity, and whatever happens, happens, because you want to see that. I still, the more I see, the more I think it. And again, I'm not just using this game as he was inefficient, send him to the bench. I just think that's who he is. He's a guy who he's a shooter's got to shoot. He's got to get into those rhythms. I want to see him come off the bench and just friggin' jack 4 straight shots, 5 straight shots, and see if it's going and flowing for him. I think it's harder to do with the starters because he is forced to be deferential with Tatum and Brown. But again, that's I've been saying it. It's that my opinion hasn't changed. I'm wondering if anyone else's has.
It hasn't changed, but it hasn't changed.
Not yet.
Sherrod's a no, Josue's a no.
No, it's Josue's point that he said
Not
from
yet.
the beginning. They don't have a full bench, or Jimmy said this too. It's not rec league. They're not bringing in 5 guys off the bench. It's just never, and especially come playoff time. I look at this rotation, and it's going to be, let's say, Thompson and Fournier off the bench, and everyone else is going to stagger for the entire game. Tatum, Brown, and Kemba will probably play full games at this point. I didn't notice this against Minnesota. He played 39 minutes.
I know, but look at it. A Tatum Smart Rob, a Kemba Smart Rob starting unit. Just the shooting issues you have there. I know Rob creates some space for guys, but it's just a remarkably inefficient offensive unit for your first unit. So you're almost stuck relying heavily on Jaylen and Jayson there. And I think that's where they fall into bad habits. I really wonder if spreading it out isn't worth it. I honestly, I think it's an obvious move, but it feels like it's taboo to bring it up because everyone's like, you can't bench him. He makes a lot of money. And we were talking about this on the thread. I don't know that matters.
Well, I don't think it does.
No,
I think that to me, the bigger thing that matters, at least to me, is if you go at Fournier in that group, here's the thing. You got to see what that looks like. And we really haven't had that opportunity. And we know that Kemba doesn't play in back-to-backs. I think they've got 3 or 4 more. So presumably Fournier will be in that first group. You'll get a chance to see what that looks like in at least 2, 3, 4 different games.
I love to see it. Yeah,
I would too. And that gives you at least, it's a small sample size, but it's a sample size nonetheless.
Well, he won't. He's going to start Grant or something and keep Fournier in the second unit. You know it, right?
And I hate that. I hate that. Yeah. I hate that. Because I think that's, to me, is one of those things that you shouldn't just whip that out in the playoffs for the first time and get a look at when you've got a number of regular season games where you can get a look at that particular lineup and it not be this whole disruption type thing. Kemba doesn't play back-to-backs. He doesn't play. Slap Fournier in there. Move your boy Peyton up to the role that Peyton Pritchard has been in pretty much most of the year as your backup point guard.
Wrap it up.
And see what that looks like.
Right? See what it looks like.
I don't, and look, if it looks great,
guys,
then you tuck it away, and maybe you'll whip it out in the playoffs, maybe you won't. If it sucks, guess what? You realize that now before you get to the postseason that's probably not a good lineup for us.
It's like me talking to my daughter at the dinner table. Like, try new things, okay? Just try it.
Ease.
Yeah, you might like it.
You might like the carrots.
You like all of these ingredients separately. So what if I roll them into a burrito? Like, you'll like it. Like, eat it. It's delicious.
I think we'll find out a lot about this.
It's nutritious for you.
It's so good.
We'll find out a lot more about Kemba this week, especially throughout this West Coast road trip. I do think that's very significant. But again, I mean, I talked about this last week. I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that Peyton Pritchard is sort of dried up a bit, his offense at least, his scoring. I think if you had that going on, sit up a bit. Yeah, I'm open to the idea, but again, I don't think you don't call it a demotion, but I don't think you would go out and demotion. Yeah, but it's.
When you think about it as a demotion,
it's not
okay.
Not a
case, like I said, is when demotion. It was this second unit. That's why
you almost want to see
starting lineup. It crushes the Celtics fit from Fournier. In comparison to
if you haven't done it already, do it. It's a ton of fun. We're just going to continue the extra fun nuggets there that we can discuss. Who are offering their comments. We love it. Boom, there you are. Request to speak, and you just join the conversation. Overtime. It's a clever name, right? Get it? And we will just continue the way you were talking. I cut you off there.
No, that was it. I mean, I think Bobby about to chime in here about the whole Kemba.
Yeah, I was gonna say the other things you have to consider here is fit within the starting defense, which I still think is a good fit, even though there's deficiencies there that hurt him. Those deficiencies would probably be presented a little more sharply with the bench unit, and his passing, which another game like this where he's rolling in the pick and roll action and finding guys on the wings, getting Tatum and Brown, are an attribute of his as he tries to find his fit throughout the flow this year as well. So there are questions about his long-term fit here. You do ultimately have to decide, like, where is he going to... At this point, as I said earlier in the show, the rotations are set. I think they look really good here, and he's still a better fit, I think, with these starters than he would be, trying to lead the bench unit on his lonesome.
Yeah, well, so someone put this up here, and a lot of people are talking about it, and I do want to discuss it.
We might as well talk about it, yeah.
Well, no, we had some really interesting chats prior to tonight's game about Kemba. I'm going to hold that for locker room, okay? We got a couple of really fun trade proposals, one that Bobby had thrown out there that he got from I think it was Bleacher Report. Off-season consideration for Kemba. Would you do it? Would the other team do it? I do want to
bring
hear
your ideas
thoughts.
Too. Everyone in the chat all day is trade Kemba. Well, let's hear some ideas.
Bring your ideas. We will talk about it in locker room because we had a really interesting conversation today on our little pregame text thread. So that's something I want to hold for locker room. So we will continue that convo. We did mention again Romeo. I know he's one of my pet projects, but you guys thought he was a little better tonight, right? You're always looking for the baby steps, right? Like we did it with Nesmith, where he does something and you're like, okay, that looks more like what you want. Little thing with Romeo, that little finish with the and one. Again, it's small stuff, but like I do think
he's a good rebounder too.
He's a really active rebounder. His defense, he came in, he drew a really great charge there in the post by moving his feet really quickly there. So, I mean, his ability to keep defenders and people in front of him on defense is real. But I'm looking for those glimpses of offensive hope. And like I said, just the ability to finish through contact. Like people forget, like that was his game. He was a really good finisher in high school and in college around the rim. And you want to see if he can unlock that, if he can find those moments where he's just got to attack and go. Well, he was the one who went to the basket there straight in transition that drew the
hard foul from
Grant. When Grant came in there, right? But you want to see him just go because he can do that. He can get up there and he can finish through contact. He's nifty around the rim. I want to see a little bit more of that. So, but I mean, little baby steps here. I liked what I saw tonight.
Well, the big thing that he's doing that I think is really jumping out is his defense, and that's going to get you on the floor every day. Any day when it comes to Brad Stevens. Is that Jimmy with the potato chips?
Yeah.
You already know.
I muted him.
No, but he's doing all the little things.
This locker room has to rest with the bag of chips.
Always.
Anyone joining locker room?
I had to put my headphones in because everyone
don't do what Jimmy does. Don't let Jimmy be your locker room role model. Okay,
he's your anti-role model. That's what he is.
Go ahead, Sherrod. Sorry.
No, but Romeo,
hey, you might not let you in, John, after that.
Yeah.
Romeo is doing all the little things to get on the floor. And, we talk about the and one that he had. But remember, you're going to have to live with some not so great moments. Like he had that offensive rebound, kicked it. Then he pulled it back out, took a 3-ball. That was an air ball. But the fact that, again, he's involving himself in the offense, little bits and pieces here and there. That's a positive thing to see because they're going to need – he doesn't have to go out and score 20 points, but he can initiate some things at the offensive end of the floor that can help this team. And for him to get more comfortable with that, that's huge for them going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Especially for that second unit and just – in those middle quarters where the Celtics have often, really dropped the ball, especially with the second quarter or coming out of halftime where they come out, dry. that hasn't been the case. And I think someone like Langford, he's able to blend in with everyone else. You know, he's not one of those guys that's going to, you know, be a step behind on defense. I mean, he's already proven that he's able to just come in. And of course, obviously, he's not able to play 25 minutes quite yet. He's got to get his legs back after missing the entire season. But I mean, he's been impressive. I mean, from the very beginning, when he got that big block after being out the entire season, your very first couple of minutes, you check in and you straight up, you know, like not even showing much rust. I mean, that's a huge indication of maybe him always often in the gym or just constantly taking notes, you know. And again, I think someone.
You mean
like
on that block?
No, I mean like just being that ready, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe not the block itself, but being ready and being put in that spot and come up big. And you know, on this West Coast road trip again, the attitude with this team and
I didn't even say anything. When was the last time I spoke? Go ahead.
We have to prove everyone wrong. You know, I just think Romeo, it really he blends in with that, and I think a lot of his teammates, you know, that resonates with them. They're like, okay, Romeo, we see you. You know, those 2 charges in Denver, you know, that's big. You know, I think he's a guy that again, I mean, Sherrod brought it up. I talked about it last season, like. A young Avery Bradley, when someone just came in and he just gets it. You know, I see the same thing with Romeo.
That's what the reason I was bringing it up. Anybody see Bridges?
That was unreal
the other night, and I was like, "That's the guy Romeo blocked with 2 hands." You know, that was maybe poster of the year.
Wait, was that today?
Yesterday, I think.
That was it wasn't today.
There was one today. There was.
Oh, was it?
I don't know if I forget who it was, but there was an unreal dunk today.
I'm still leaning towards that Anthony Edwards dunk a couple weeks ago.
Also unreal.
Man, dunk of the year.
That's my dunk of the year so far. There been some good ones the last couple of weeks though, for sure. But that
Anthony Edwards could not help but could smile immediately after that.
Well, the first thing he did was he looked up at the jumbotron.
He's like, I need to see that.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking at their face around him, just like making the stank face, like
the stank face. Yeah.
You know it's good when the opposing bench reacts, and then they're like,
I know, right?
We shouldn't react, but we can't. Yeah, Bridges was today. Thank you. I always want to say real quick, listen, about Romeo, I mean, he fills their biggest void this season, was that, you know, backup wing guy that everyone's been saying the Celtics needed. Now, obviously, you've got Fournier too. So you might be adding 2 serviceable, at the very least, serviceable players for this stretch run here into the playoffs, which is, you know, exactly what the doctor ordered, exactly what everyone said the Celtics needed in the offseason. Instead, they went and they got Thompson, which I shouldn't say everybody. A lot of people liked that signing, including myself. So I'm not going to go back and say, oh, they shouldn't have done it. But It was clear early on that they did have a void there at that position. And then Romeo, it was like, where the hell is Romeo? It was like he was, you know, literally there are conspiracy theories that he was dead. So, I mean, that's how out of the picture he was.
Who started those, Jimmy?
I don't know who started those.
Really. That was passive voice, huh?
Then it was hologram, and now it does appear that
Weekend at Romeo's.
Weekend at Romeo's. It appears he is alive and well, and contributing. So, honestly, like, anything they can get out of this guy down the stretch here is all good. So, a plus
I love the guy.
off the bench. Bench players love that plus minus stat. I know they do, and that's how that's how a lot of them, you know, value their, you know, time on the court, and that's how they make their case for more playing time. They're not the focal point of the offense or the defense.
That's what the agent says. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, that shows you that when he's out on the court, at least today, good things are happening.
We already went over the Avery Bradley comparison that Sherrod came up with, which is encouraging there, especially since Bradley didn't do all that much on the offensive end early in his career either. So I'm not thrilled if he has to play a significant role in the playoffs, because I think between Smart, Brown, Tatum, and Fournier, they have enough on the wing to spell playoff minutes outside of maybe like 4 or 5 for Langford. But if he's the next guy there, say one of them gets banged up, it's not a terrible option. It's probably Jimmy, better than any of the other guys.
Jimmy, it's less that it's less spelling those guys. It's more if you want to be playing those 3-wing lineups, which I know they like, it gives you the ability to do that. So it's having two other guys on the court, Fournier, Tatum, or Tatum Brown, along with Romeo. I think does can potentially do good things for you. They couldn't do it at all, and if they were ever thin or they got into that second unit, you were getting semi minutes and needing to count on him for offense. Now you're adding Fournier and Romeo. It allows you to play more 3-wing lineups or kind of small ball lineups with maybe Grant at a 5, or things like that, or even no center, and get away with it against
switch everything.
Yeah,
lineup.
gives you a lot of
that switchable lineup with Smart at the guard, and they love that. They're so again, Romeo, it makes that more possible. Again, he's not the drop off, obviously, between Tatum, Brown to Fournier to the next tier is still significant, but ultimately it comes down to, if you want to play those types of lineups, it's Romeo over Semi, and I think it's an upgrade because I like what Romeo brings and can bring a little bit more personally, and I think defensively he's every bit as good, if not better, than Semi.
No, I mean,
right
there's
now.
no question he should be better than Semi. He was a
He should be,
14th pick,
of
and
course.
Semi was a second rounder. So yeah.
He should be. But again, there's some people, I mean, like I said, Semi is the kind of safety blanket. The most encouraging thing to me is it's Stevens. He's not really one to embrace the unknown.
Well, he knows what he brings defensively, and
the fact that he's playing him, means that he has a little bit, and he is at least confident that he can hold. We know he's confident he can hold his own defensively, but the fact that he's willing to embrace Romeo here and to give him some minutes and to let him develop, I do think he can make a difference. Some difference down the stretch. This is going to be my 5-minute warning, guys, and we're going to wrap it up on this side. Jimmy and Josue and Bobby, are going to keep it going for a little bit longer here, and then hopefully bring some more of you guys over. But Sherrod and I are going to head over shortly over to Locker Room, and we're going to start the chat with you guys. The room is open. The link is in the chat, I believe.
It's up.
It's up. So guys, that's the link. Once again, Locker Room, they are our sponsors. Okay, we're doing this after every game. We're gonna do post-game chat for about, as we are now, an hour, or depending on the game, we could go longer. And then we're gonna head over to Locker Room. We're gonna chat with you guys for a little bit as well there too. So we are definitely gonna talk about Kemba and the offseason, and any thoughts you have regarding tonight. Bobby just left.
Bobby's so excited to ship Kemba out of here. He's like, I'm out.
This is the last idea. I did this last time too, and I said I'm going to Locker Room, and Bobby left.
He jumped the gun.
Bobby,
he keeps doing that. I'm like, no, excited. You stay. Discipline, buddy. You stay.
JJB, we up next.
He's like Rob. He's just running out there trying to block shots. Like he just wants to just hold your position.
Young Rob.
So we're heading over there, Sherrod. Before I boot you and you head over, any other thoughts on tonight?
No, this was a good win. It was a good team win, and they did it with defense. That to me is the one takeaway I had that to me matters most. That they didn't rely on shot chucking to chalk up a win. They haven't had a lot of games like that. And so to me, that's a good sign going forward, because if you're going to shock the world and make a deep playoff run, which nobody but those in that locker room feel is possible, you're going to have to get it done on the defensive end of the floor, and this was a good sign in that direction.
Definitely.
Yeah, agree. Guys, again, I'll let you guys kind of roll with it a little bit here, but we are going to boogie and head over to Locker Room. So again, come hang with me and Sherrod. Anybody here, hang with Jimmy, Bobby, Josue, and then come over and hang with all of us. We're all going over.
We won't be here long. John usually texts us, "Get the hell over here!" like after a couple minutes. So we'll be hanging out for a bit, and then we'll save John in the locker room.
Yeah, you saved me.
JJB's up next. Let's go.
Yeah, no, it's
everyone get your questions up.
Yeah, I love it. You guys get excited. You get empowered.
I get in.
Absolutely. We're gonna throw some questions up here too to wrap up our show, and then the ones we can't get to here, we'll bring them on over to Locker Room.
Yeah, and Josue's loving it. Josue's the biggest Locker Room fan out there right now.
Big Locker Room guy. I went in the Locker Room earlier today, and Josue was just chilling in the locker room, just like bouncing from room to room, just like holding.
Hey Jimmy. High five.
Yeah. A lot of stuff going on,
He came out of the visitors' locker room. I'm like, what you doing over there, bro? This isn't CLNS locker room.
I know. Again, we're doing this after every game, as we said. So we're going to boogie. Sherrod and I heading out. We'll see you guys over there. Otherwise, those of you hanging out with Jimmy, Bobby, and Josue, come on over a little bit later. We're going to be up for a bit. So, guys, enjoy the rest of the show. Sherrod, let's head out.
See you, Boomers. Cool. We'll still beat you over there. I
can't figure it out.
It won't let me log on. What's my password?
It's not working for me.
Forgot my password. All right, Bobby. I I texted you the Bridges dunk. Do you have it? Can you put that up?
Oh, no, I didn't see it, but I'll work on that. In the meantime, we can talk
Every-
about.
He's not gonna work on that. Look at him.
Everybody
the way
needs
he
to
said that.
see. Everybody needs to see this Miles Bridges.
I didn't
dunk
see it. Where'd you send
from
it?
today? It's in a group text. It's in our group text. It's just a tweet. It's just a tweet that I.
Oh, that's gonna be
I thought you
tricky,
could
but
just.
I'll work
I thought
on
you could
it.
just. Oh, I thought you could just grab the.
Oh,
tweet
you want
and
me to
post
share
it
my
up.
screen? Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be bigger.
Yeah,
Do
let's
that.
see this.
Everyone needs to see this dunk.
Get
Today. I
right
think
back.
this might be the new dunk of the year. I know that the.
In real time.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah,
Anyways,
chill in this chair all day. Get stuff done here.
Josue, where are you? Like a
So this is
Asian,
like a
Asian like
no,
buffet restaurant or something?
it's like an upstairs like little porch.
Dude,
To my parents' place.
The feng shui in that room looks
Yeah,
unreal.
this is where it's at, man. Jimmy, you know.
That's a great word for it. That's exactly what it
when
is.
when the sun's coming through, it's a nice spot to be at.
All right, here we go. I don't know why it's in French, but it is. Anyway, dude, hold on. Nobody look, Bobby. Oh
Yeah,
my
you gotta
God.
zoom in on that.
Oh my God, dude, you gotta like go big on it, bro.
You gotta go big.
Pause this.
Yeah, you gotta pause it.
Jeez, dude. All right, start over. This is like telling my parents how to work the TV right now. Bobby,
Okay.
start it over.
Okay, I think I saw it. Hey.
What is wrong with this kid?
Bobby, are you speeding it up? What are you doing?
Can you not hear us?
No, I got you. I'm seeing it differently than you guys, I think.
You're just ignoring us. All right, this was an epic fail.
He said, no, I hear you perfectly.
You guys get the pic. You guys get the idea.
You guys haven't seen it 3 times already? Come on.
We're seeing it. It's
Where's
all
your
like
reaction?
It's all like jumpy and poor quality. This did not.
He killed the guy. That's all you need to know. And look at LaMelo Ball looking fresh.
Everyone is concerned for Clint Capella.
It should be in slow mo every time.
What a shame. Injuries suck. That team could have been the most fun team in the East. We've talked about it. If the Celtics kept sunking,
it's still pretty fun, man.
I don't know. Was that game against the Celtics fun?
Well, I mean,
last Sunday.
They're
have now
presumably gonna get Hayward back, right? I mean,
we'll see. I mean, they're cutting it close with that 4 weeks or so.
You're right, though. I mean, it's tough. Injuries can really. That's why we said, don't. At least I think most of us said, if you're the Celtics, just put yourself in a position to be a tough out because you never know what's going to happen with injuries. I mean, we've seen Embiid already go down this year. Look at the Nets. They're so deep that they can afford
That's the break you have to catch.
To have a guy go down. But, I mean, if 2 of the 3 of those guys are banged up going into the playoffs, I mean, really, it could be anybody's conference to win. And when the team raises the banner or when they raise the trophy, no one's really thinking back on, oh, well, they only made it because of injuries. History will just show who won the title that year. And injuries are part of the game, so it is what it is.
I see this too, and someone tweeted this out earlier. Celtics have the 5th easiest remaining schedule, so that helps. They're going to see the Lakers now, presumably without LeBron and Davis at the end of this trip. So the breaks are already coming. They got a huge 7-game homestand that they should have taken greater advantage of than they did. The remaining schedule here isn't going to be that tough. So, again, they have to be that 4 seed. You got to get into that 4-5, maybe catch a break with, like, Charlotte in there or something, or, where the other teams floating around that space. Atlanta would be tough. Atlanta would be real tough. But Miami, they'd be pretty tough too. But if you get home court in that series, it becomes just a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think that's significant. I mean, look, a lot of these Celtics players, they don't even know what playoff basketball at the Garden looks like, or at least to be on the right side of it. Well, shit, even Kemba doesn't know about that. Kemba's never
That's
faced the Celtics in the
true.
playoffs, and he didn't see it last year. He saw what a deep playoff run looks like from the bubbles perspective. But I think even if it's limited capacity, which is probably going to be the case, it's still significant. Look, these guys can hear you. Like some of these fans. The other day, Bobby, right? I'm sure you agree with this. Like, you picked the right time. There's no way the player didn't hear you scream out a particular thing or a really good chant. Like,
yeah,
it's just you're really connected that way. And also it goes the other way around too, right? Like players, fans can pick up on what you're saying, and you can, how clever Celtics fans can be, right? Like if they pick up on something from an opposing player that's easy for them to chant about, like that can really get into someone's head easier now, or they can get really personal and say something that's gonna hit you, and you're sitting like 20 rows back, whereas that was impossible, you know, in a regular playoff environment. So I think playoff having home court, it's significant for the Celtics if they can get it. And of course, this stretch is so important, whether we're talking about that momentum going into the postseason or just the overall confidence of this team.
Do you agree with this? Because I don't.
What?
What's that?
How about John Smith calling me an idiot and Bobby just being like, "Yeah, I'm gonna post that." John Smith. It was a good dunk. It was definitely one of the dunks of the year. When your name is John Smith, you can pretty much say whatever the hell you want because there's no tracking a John Smith down. There's about a billion of them out
Jimmy
there.
just went in.
So John
Jimmy's
Smith.
Like, are you talking about fucking John Smith?
Easy. You're talking about John motherfucking Smith right now. Getting in my grill about Miles Bridges' dunk. That was a good dunk. You couldn't see it because it was in 56K modem that Bobby's running over there.
This is the kind of beef we expect.
And Bobby never paused it. He just kept looping.
Yeah, he was just like, again, it's like trying to explain to your parents, like you just want to watch a replay of something. It's like an all-day affair. Anyways, I'm not worried about Miami if we see Miami. That's a tough first-round matchup. I mean,
how can you say that after what we just watched in September?
Right. I mean, Miami's the type of team that has the talent. They have the talent to put it together for a number of reasons this year: injuries, health. Just, I do think they overplayed in the bubble last year. I think everyone can probably agree to that. They aren't, the best team in the East, certainly, but they're a tough out, and they play tough as nails. They play behind Jimmy Butler's sort of style of play and mentality. Bam murdered the Celtics last year. Now they have a new and improved Rob, and it'll be definitely interesting to see that matchup, and Thompson. So I certainly expect it to be a difficult series, but I mean, to say that I wouldn't be worried, that's a little extreme. I think the Celtics can definitely beat them, but it would be a battle, and that's the type of a series that if that's a first round series, that just could take a lot out of you.
Did you catch Brooklyn last night, Josue?
I didn't, but I heard about it. Jeez, Kyrie got ejected. They
look terrible. Yeah, we can do it. You want to do a Kyrie thing now that John's gone? No.
Yeah,
they looked awful.
Yeah,
they looked horrible.
Exactly happened?
And defensively, they are not fixing themselves on the defensive end of the floor by bringing LaMarcus Aldridge in. After the game, he said he was horrible on defense, and he had to go watch some film about it because he was so bad. The Lakers had no LeBron, no Davis, and they went in there and just dominated them. Andre Drummond was all over the interior, which is a weakness we've talked about.
Trez has been killing it.
Yep, he beat them up. Ben McLemore came in for LA and had a huge game, and I think it was his first game with them. So Brooklyn, Harden's down. I mean, he'll be back for the playoffs, but he'll probably miss most of the rest of the regular season. Kyrie is now taking a personal absence day on tomorrow against Minnesota. So he's going on a hiatus again, it seems.
Didn't he just come back from one of those? Like, I don't get it. It's like the dude plays once a week, or he picks he handpicks the games he wants to participate in. And then something like this, where it's like, yo, your team could really use you right now. Right now, they just took a huge L.
And KD dealing with an injury there for a little bit. So again, I thought Brooklyn was unstoppable coming into this year. They make that trade, they got even better. But there's still those question marks with them, like from a mentality,
it's just health.
It's even physical. Yeah.
If they can stay healthy, I still think they're damn near impossible to beat out of the East. Now, who they end up playing with again in the West is another story. But talent-wise, I mean, the NBA has always been about talent more than anything, and these guys are about three of the most talented players in the NBA. Very rare.
It's definitely the team you want to avoid round one.
Very rare to get a team of players together like that. I mean, it's happened a few times, but this is the type of a team that if they can stay on the court, there's really no reason to bet against them. So it's gonna be difficult for sure, and I think everybody realizes that. But health is the great evener out there. So we shall see. And
Kyrie sent out a tweet that seems to be possibly the reason he's stepping out of the lineup again. I can't read his mind, so I'm not even going to pretend to. So locker room.
Did he do it in the Star Wars font, or he did it regular?
Wait, Kyrie's not playing? Is that what you said?
Yeah, he's taking a personal leave again.
Oh, I missed that. My bad. I didn't see
that. He got ejected last night. He sent out a tweet about the situation he had with Dennis Schroeder, and then it was announced today that he's not playing tomorrow for personal reasons. So we'll see where that goes.
Schroeder got him big mad. Oh, Kyrie.
Yeah, Schroeder. I'll tell you what. Schroeder tends to pick a lot of I mean, I know him and Rondo have gotten at each other's throats over the years. And
well, that's like his.
He seems to get under the skin of a lot of people. Sure.
Yeah, he like modeled his game after Rondo, and
I remember that way back.
Yeah,
I
think he was a teenager, or at least during the Celtics run, that era, the Big Three era. He loved all of that, from Rosie. I don't know. Did he grow up in Germany? I don't know if he grew up in Germany, but he's German.
He did. Yep.
He grew up in Germany, right? Yeah. So he used to take in all those games. He said as a teenager, he said he was just fascinated by Rondo from day one, from the first time he watched him play. Yeah.
And man, he has quickly become one of the most underrated players in the league. He's probably going to be one of the top free agents this offseason. That
was an underrated signing by Lakers. I love that. I feel like, Bobby, maybe you didn't like that signing that much.
No, it was a trade. It was a steal of a trade. They gave up Danny Green and maybe like a set
because they lost Rondo and they basically replaced Rondo with him, which is
after that they let Rondo
younger Rondo, right? So.
That was the move of the offseason for sure. And they'll have to keep him now. He declined an extension with them. He's going to go to free agency. So we'll see. He wants upwards of $28 million a year. So we'll see if he gets that. But he declined about 20 from them. So he's betting on himself. He should have been the 6th man of the year last year with Oklahoma City. He was great there too. He's been around a while. I can't think of a resurgence for a guy like this late in his career. He was with Atlanta forever. We remember those battles. So Lakers are still tough. We'll just see with them too. When you think about these teams in the West, who catches a house break here? Is LeBron going to be back in form when he comes back? Davis, I guess they're coming back in 2 to 3 weeks now, so they'll be ready for the playoffs. But Davis in particular, I'm looking at and saying Achilles injury. That's a scary one to hear and deal with in the middle of a season. So feels like this is a wide open year for anybody really. So still, you look at the Celtics, they're probably not a championship team, but who knows what kind of breaks they catch along the way.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Celtics that started the season certainly weren't. I mean, if they continue to slowly turn things around, who knows? I mean, the playoffs are far enough away where really anything can happen. They certainly need the momentum to change, and it seems to be starting to. And like you say, you get Fournier back, and if they can stay healthy and sort of rally together, and if they want to make it, them against the world, then great. That's how it should be. That's how they should feel. They should be rallying on each other. The Grant Williams thing today was minor, but it was a sign of like that team unity aspect. That's locker room B probably sticking together out there. So maybe they're setting the tone a little bit. So good to see. Anyways, we can bring this over to locker room now. I think. If you guys have iOS, great. Download the app. Come hang out with us. If you don't, go over to the Apple Store and get it. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully they'll have the Android app out there soon.
Epic Game Up. No.
Yeah, hopefully they have
iPad. Yeah, grab your iPad. Do what you got to do to get on Apple, and hopefully more people will be able to access it soon. So we'll see you over there. I'm sure Nick, Sherrod, and John are just beginning to talk now. 20 minutes later. So
yeah,
we'll just go save the day.
All right,
see
boys.
you guys. We're back on Tuesday at 10 o'clock, late night. I don't know what.
Yes, sir.
I promise you I will not be on that show, so you guys crush it for me, okay?
Portland Trailblazers. That's going to be a good game.
Then a big Lakers game on Thursday. So we'll see you guys for that back here. Subscribe to YouTube, all access, all that stuff. Podcast streams as well. All right.